Feel the blaze of a Hollywood legend dimming forever, as Ronnie Randell Jr., the fearless stuntman who set hearts racing and screens ablaze with his death-defying daring, leaves us heartbroken on that quiet Tuesday, August 12, 2025, passing peacefully in the comforting embrace of a senior living facility in Osage Beach, Missouri, at the age of 88. His flame extinguished by the gentle hand of time after a life packed with adrenaline and artistry, though no specific cause was shared, marking a serene close to a career that thrived on chaos. Born on February 10, 1937, in the glittering cradle of Los Angeles, California, Ronnie was destined for the spotlight, growing up amid the magic of Tinseltown where his father transitioned from humble extra to assistant director, instilling in him a passion for the perilous world of stunts. He dove headfirst into the industry, becoming a master stunt performer, coordinator, and even actor, with credits that lit up blockbusters like the high-octane thrills of Lethal Weapon in 1987, where he orchestrated jaw-dropping action, the sci-fi spectacle of Star Trek, First Contact in 1996, the cult classic They Live in 1988 with its raw fight scenes, the quirky chaos of Grosse Pointe Blank in 1997, the wild satire of Blazing Saddles, and the mind-bending feats in The Matrix Reloaded, amassing over 100 film and TV credits that showcased his unbreakable spirit and precision, earning him quiet respect among peers for turning danger into cinematic gold. But oh, the pinnacle of his legacy burned brightest in 1975, when he volunteered to be set aflame not once, but up to 15 times, for Pink Floyd's iconic Wish You Were Here album cover, donning a fire-retardant suit soaked in gasoline at Warner Brothers Studios, shaking hands with another suited figure amid roaring flames that symbolized the band's themes of absence and burnout, only for a gust of wind on the final take to singe his eyebrow and mustache, creating an image that scorched itself into rock history and sold millions, forever linking his name to the psychedelic legends. On the personal front, Ronnie's life was a tender counterpoint to his on-screen risks. He shared a loving marriage with Mary Smith, building a family that stood by him through the highs and hazards, with his sons and loved ones announcing his passing, a testament to the quiet strength of a man who faced fire but cherished the warmth of home in his later years spent in Missouri, far from the Hollywood hustle yet never forgotten by those he thrilled. The circumstances of his departure were as understated as his stunts were explosive. After decades of defying gravity and flames, Ronnie slipped away in the peaceful surroundings of his care home, a dramatic irony for a hero who lived on the edge, evoking tears for the end of an era where real bravery fueled our fantasies, his family sharing the news that shattered fans worldwide. The flood of grief erupted like one of his fiery spectacles. Pink Floyd devotees and Hollywood admirers took to social media in waves, with one fan lamenting, "R.I.P. Ronnie Randell Jr., the man on fire from Pink Floyd's iconic album cover has passed away," sharing the blazing image that stirred nostalgic sorrow, while another declared, "Hollywood stuntman Ronnie Randell Jr., known to most Pink Floyd fans as the burning man on the cover of Wish You Were Here, sadly passed away," prompting replies of shock and admiration for his courage. Music outlets like Rolling Stone honored him as the immortalized figure on that legendary sleeve, and users recounted the album shoot's wild tales, like how he endured 15 burns, with tributes pouring in from accounts evoking his influence on pop culture, including nods to how his fiery handshake inspired references in BTS's Fire MV. As the world mourned a quiet giant whose legacy burned eternal, even lighthearted homages emerged, blending humor with heartfelt respect, underscoring how his daring act touched souls across generations. In this bittersweet farewell, let us hold on to Ronnie Randell Jr. not just as the man who danced with flames for our entertainment, but as the embodiment of fearless passion and quiet humility that ignited dreams and defined an era. May his spirit continue to flicker in every daring leap and rock anthem, reminding us to live boldly, love deeply, and cherish the sparks that make life unforgettable, leaving our hearts forever warmed by his unquenchable fire. Picture the shadowy world of espionage flickering to a somber close, hearts heavy with the loss of Joe Karoff, the unsung genius whose pen birthed the legendary 007 gun logo that defined James Bond's thrilling saga, only to leave us forever on August 17, 2025, slipping away peacefully in hospice care at his cherished home in Manhattan, New York, succumbing to the quiet toll of time at the remarkable age of 103, just one heartbreaking day before his 104th birthday would have dawned. Born on August 18, 1921, in a world far from the glitz of Hollywood, Joe grew up with a passion for art that propelled him into the heart of graphic design, starting his career crafting book jackets like the striking one for Norman Mailer's The Naked and the Dead, before exploding into film with the fire escape silhouette poster for West Side Story in 1961 that captured forbidden love's raw emotion, followed by the knotted guitar whimsy of A Hard Day's Night for the Beatles in 1964, the Sensual intrigue of Last Tango in Paris in 1972, the elegant skyline romance of Woody Allen's Manhattan in 1979, and bold theatrics for Cabaret, Rollerball, and Martin Scorsese's The Last Temptation of Christ in 1988, amassing over 300 movie posters and titles that pulsed with life, deception, and drama. His crowning jewel, the 007 logo created for 1962's Dr. No for a mere $300, originally a simple letterhead mark that morphed the 7 into a pistol's grip, becoming an eternal symbol of suave danger used in every Bond film since, while his talents extended to logos for Orion Pictures, ABC News, their Olympic broadcasts, and the probing eye of 2020, earning him quiet acclaim as a mid-20th century design titan who made visuals feel alive and stories leap off the page. In his personal realm, Joe was a devoted family man, sharing his Manhattan haven with loved ones, including his sons Peter and Michael, who tenderly shared the news of his passing. A life marked by humility despite his brush with stardom, often overlooked in design histories yet profoundly influential, as noted by Stephen Heller, who lamented that he was unknown, is shocking, highlighting the tragedy of his under-recognition. The circumstances surrounding his departure were as poignant as his designs. After a century of creativity, Joe entered hospice at home, where he drew his last breath on that fateful Sunday morning, a gentle fade-out for a man whose work exploded with vibrancy, evoking the dramatic finales of the films he adorned, leaving fans to grapple with the void of a legend gone too soon even at 103. The wave of grief crashed immediately across social media and beyond. Fans and fellow creatives poured out their souls, with DVD Beaver hailing him as one of the most influential graphic designers of the 20th century. R.I.P. Joe, sharing images of his masterpieces that stirred nostalgic tears, while Andrew Sam Rajapandian recounted his journey from Bond to Beatles with heartfelt admiration, noting the logo's rare longevity. The Bangkok Post announced his passing with a touching photo, prompting replies of shock and sorrow like, "What a legacy." Hungry Donkey crafted a tribute logo swapping 007 for his name, a clever nod that garnered emotional responses. NYT obituaries spotlighted his overlooked genius, sparking quotes of reflection. Even whimsical tributes emerged, like newsgags joking about a Bond-style sea burial from an Aston Martin ejector seat, blending humor with homage. Designers like Hybrand called him a quiet giant, and Stan/Lee mourned the loss of his iconic graphics, as the design world united in lamenting a pioneer whose work shaped cinematic dreams. As we dim the lights on this extraordinary chapter, let us cherish Joe Karoff not merely for the logos and posters that ignited our imaginations, but for the quiet passion that fueled a lifetime of artistry, reminding us that true icons often work in the shadows. May his spirit forever whisper through the silver screen, inspiring dreamers to craft worlds with a single stroke, leaving us all a bit more enchanted, reflective, and grateful for the magic he bestowed upon our lives. Imagine the shock and sorrow rippling through the hearts of book lovers everywhere as we say goodbye to Greg Iles, the master storyteller whose words ignited fires of passion, suspense, and raw truth, only to be silenced forever on that fateful morning of August 15, 2025, when he slipped away at his beloved home in Natchez, Mississippi, succumbing to the relentless grip of multiple myeloma, an incurable blood cancer that had tormented him since his diagnosis at just 36 years old in 1996. Claiming his life at the tender age of 65 and leaving an irreplaceable void in the world of literature. Born in 1960 in Stuttgart, Germany, to a U.S. Embassy physician father, Greg was raised in the hauntingly beautiful yet shadowed landscapes of Natchez, Mississippi, where the whispers of history and the scars of the South shaped his soul. He chased dreams as a rock musician in the band Frankly Scarlet, touring the circuits with electric energy before a pivotal turn led him to the page, debuting with the explosive thriller Spandau Phoenix in 1993. A tale of Nazi secrets that skyrocketed him to fame and set the stage for a career that would produce 17 gripping novels, many New York Times bestsellers that sold millions worldwide. His pen Cage series, starting with The Quiet Game, wove intricate webs of legal drama, family secrets, and moral reckonings in his fictionalized hometown, drawing readers into the life of a prosecutor battling corruption and personal demons, while his crowning achievement, the Natchez Burning Trilogy, a sprawling 2,300-page epic comprising Natchez Burning, The Bone Tree, and Mississippi Blood, dared to confront the ugly truths of racism, civil rights murders, and white supremacy in the Deep South, forcing audiences to face uncomfortable histories with unflinching honesty, earning him accolades as a chronicler of the modern South who blended heart-pounding suspense with profound social commentary, all while his works like Black Cross and 24 Hours showcased his versatility in World War II intrigue and high-stakes kidnappings. On a personal note, Greg's life was a testament to resilience. He survived a near-fatal car accident in 2011 that caused an aortic dissection, leaving him in a coma and resulting in the amputation of part of his right leg, yet he rose from the ashes, channeling that pain into even more powerful writing, balancing his career with a devoted family life in Natchez, where he lived with his wife and children, finding solace in music, history, and the Mississippi River's timeless flow. The circumstances of his death were as poignant as his prose. After nearly 3 decades of bravely fighting multiple myeloma, undergoing treatments that extended his time to create masterpieces, Greg passed peacefully at around 5 a.m. in the comfort of his Natchez home, surrounded by the love of family, a quiet end to a life that roared with creativity, but one that hit like a thunderclap, amplifying the drama of a warrior author who never backed down from life's harshest battles. The outpouring of grief has been overwhelming and immediate. Fans across the globe flooded social media with heartbroken tributes, one devotee lamenting, "Sad to hear of the death of Greg Iles, he was a brilliant writer and chronicler of the modern South, R.I.P., while another shared, "He got me thinking about the deep South and stuff that's buried under the bone tree. So long, my friend in letters, I will miss you." Fellow thriller giant David Morrell paid homage, declaring, "Another thriller great has left us. If you're not familiar with his work, you missed something," echoing the sentiments of the literary community, including his publisher HarperCollins, who hailed him as a whirling dervish of talent, and even classmates from Ole Miss like Connie 2835 who recalled, "We were in classes together." His books are some of the best I've ever read. Journalists and critics, from the New York Times to CNN, honored his legacy with obituaries highlighting his fearless exploration of race and history, as waves of condolences from authors, readers, and Mississippi natives underscored how his stories not only entertained but healed and challenged souls. In this moment of profound loss, let us remember Greg Iles not just for the thrills he delivered or the truths he unveiled, but for the humanity he infused into every page, teaching us to confront darkness with courage and light. May his spirit soar eternally along the mighty Mississippi, inspiring generations to pick up a pen, face their fears, and weave tales that matter, leaving us all a little wiser, a little braver, and forever touched by the magic of a man who turned pain into poetry and history into hope.